Hello everyone, what's up? In this video I'm going to review 3 awesome 3D printed tanks by Grim Prints, the Grim Panzer IV, the Grim Tiger, and the Grim Mouse. Whether you're a wargamer or a scale modeler, if you want to learn more about weathering, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell. Before we start, let me clarify that Brian at Grim Prints was kind enough to send me the vehicles already printed for this review. However, this is not a paid promotion, and Grim Prints has absolutely no say in the content of this video. Okay, so from biggest to smallest, we have the Grim Mouse, Grim Tiger, and Grim Panzer IV, each of them clearly based on a real World War II German tank. Like I said, I received the tanks already printed and also partially assembled, so all I've done is magnetize the weapons and get these babies primed. Let's now have a closer look at each of the vehicles in turn. Here is a monstrous mouse, which is a true beast. As you can see, the sponsons and some details are inspired by the Macarius tank by Forge World, which happens to be my favorite by the way. All the weapons, sponsons, and quite a few other bits and bobs come prepared for magnetization. As you can see, there is a blend of sci-fi and historical elements. For one, check out that plasma cannon. Swapping weapons is a pleasure with all the Grim tanks. The Vanquisher variant is also beautiful and really imposing, but personally what I'll be using this for is as a proxy for a Macarius Omega. I own 2 Macarius, but the Omega was already out of print when I started collecting Forge World models. The fuel tanks at the back are a really nice touch and were easy to put together. One thing I'd like to mention is the quality of the tracks. If you know anything about real-life tanks, you'll know that the tracks in most Warhammer tanks are just absurd. For me as a real treadhead, this is really refreshing. If you're wondering what that plate at the bottom is, check this out. This cavity is designed for you to store all the weapons options for the main gun and the sponsons, or whatever else you want, of course. A really nice touch. The reason you see a magnet sticking out is that I stupidly forgot to superglue that one. Again, the attention to detail is apparent in the turret design, which has an effective locking mechanism with those 2 notches. The reason you see a hole there is because the STL files come already pre-hollowed, as you will see later. This allows you to save a lot of resin when printing. As you can see, this turret is going nowhere. But let us now check out the Grim Tiger, which is quite large and in my opinion really beautiful. The sponson here has the same design, and in fact the sponson weapons are interchangeable with those on the mouse. The tracks, drive wheels, exhausts, etc. are all wonderfully detailed. The addition of rivets and some more esoteric elements once again blends Warhammer aesthetics with the original German Tiger design. I should mention that there are several different weapons options for each of the Grim tanks, and I'm only showing you my favorite ones, the Vanquisher being one of them of course. See that ammo box at the back of the turret? That also has different magnetized versions. And let me stress again, I didn't have to drill a single hole. It all comes ready for your magnets. Pretty impressive if you ask me. So why did this one not have a cover for the bottom compartment? Well, because I somehow managed to break it. Rest assured I will be printing one to remedy that. And now it's time for the younger brother, the Grim Panzer IV. Look at all those beautiful rivets. As you can see, the level of detail is exquisite. The heavy flamer gun is not legal in 30K, but I quite like it. The ammo box, once again, is swappable, and there's a lot of other weapons options that I'm not showing you here. Oh, and this one compartment? I didn't break or magnetize incorrectly. Check it out in all its glory. See, it closes with that reassuring magnetic clack. So, a great little tank, isn't it? Or is it actually so little? Let's have a size comparison, shall we? So on the right you can see my son's Leman Russ. As you can see, it is much smaller than the Grim Tiger. Looking at them together, it's easier to recognize the Warhammer elements in the Grim Prints creation, I think. I know what tracks I prefer, however. Now the little Panzer IV has to measure against the legendary Leman Russ. But wait a minute, They are basically the same size. They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but as much as I love that Leman Russ Battle Tank, I know which one I prefer myself. Anyway, for those of you with 3D printers, or who are considering getting one, let me show you one of these tanks on Chitubox. I've picked the Grim Tiger because I think it's kind of the sweet spot in terms of size between these three. What you see here is the build plate of an Anycubic Photon Mono X, which is a mid-size printer. The files, which I have purchased myself, come pre-supported and pre-hollowed. All I've done is arrange them on the plate. Let's have a look at the different elements. This is the beautiful turret, reminiscent of Krieg vehicles. That's the plate that it sits on. Here you can see the tracks with the drive wheels. That's the compartment door I broke. And this is the hull, which is massive and has holes for the resin to drain and also for the door. Then we have some other bits and bobs, and that's basically it. We would need another print for the weapons, of course, and this is with a fairly large printer. On my Mars 2 Pro, I think this would be about 4 prints. But of course I just started 3D printing, so I could be miscalculating. By now you're probably wondering how much one of these costs, both in terms of resin and of the STL file. This first print has a cost of €9.50. The second print, basically full of different guns, would have a cost of €2.50 in resin, so a total of €12. Let us now have a look at the files on the Grimprints website. So the Grim Tiger STL file has a price of $10 Canadian, which is roughly €6.70. With that, you're also getting the main battle tank weapon kit for free, which you can use on several other tanks by Grimprints. They are interchangeable. The size, once again, is considerable. The length of this tank is almost 14 centimeters, it's almost 9 centimeters wide, and almost 8 tall. Here is that weapons kit, by the way, which is really cool. So guys, all that remains is for that final verdict. Well, let's consider value for money first, shall we? Assuming that you already have a 3D printer, for approximately €19 and some elbow grease, you're going to get a large piece of a tank in the Grim Tiger, which will probably make your friends and tabletop rivals envious. If you print more than one, however, the file is obviously going to pay for itself very quickly. Let's not forget that our use case as wargamers is very different to that of people printing busts or display models. So is this overall a better deal than, say, getting a plastic Leman Russ? Well, having bought, built and painted many Leman Russes myself, let me think for a minute and consider all factors really carefully. Let me think. Yeah, it's a much better deal. Unless you actually enjoy scraping mold lines. If you do, then I recommend you stay with the overpriced ancient plastics. Now, jokes aside, aesthetics are a very personal thing. I love these designs, but I know that they will be too similar to their German Panzer counterparts for some of you. For me, this is like a cross between the historical models that I've always loved and my favorite forgeable designs, like the Macarius. The best of both worlds, as far as I'm concerned. But like I said, that's entirely a matter of taste. However, what is objectively impressive is the design, not in terms of looks, but in terms of fitment and attention to detail. Now, just printed a Panzer IV myself, but I didn't get it primed in time for this video. Putting it together took me like 10 minutes, with no cleanup, except that inherent to 3D printing, removing the supports, curing the piece, and so on. When you're used to forgeable resin kits, with the mold slip, the resin gates in the most inopportune places, the warping, the tolerances, all of that's gone, which is really refreshing. Once you get the hang of 3D printing, which I'm in the process of doing, this is much more user-friendly. It really is. And things like the modular, swappable weapons ready for magnets, or those little secret compartments, are just the icing on the cake. So, do I recommend these tanks by Grimprints? Absolutely. If you have a 3D printer and you collect an army like, let's say, Imperial Militia for 30k, what are you waiting for? Again, I am not getting any kind of commission or getting paid for this video or whatever. I'm just absolutely amazed at the quality of this product on the one hand and at the value proposition that it represents on the other. I have a 2-week break starting tomorrow and I just got a Photon Mono X. Need I say more? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this vehement but totally honest review I have so many ideas for the next few videos that I cannot decide what to tackle next. So we'll see, I guess. In the meantime, if you want to see a discussion of 3D printing for Horus Heresy gamers, click on the video on the left. And if you want to see more cool 3D printed models, check out the ones on the right. Thank you all, and remember, keep it up and weather it out.